Welcome along to the next instalment of our Landlord 2020 Vision campaign running throughout January. I'm joined now by Landlord and also Vice Chair of the RLA, soon to be the NRLA, Douglas Haig. And Douglas, before we get going, I think we have to say that we are recording this interview before we know the result of the general election. So please forgive us if anything isn't relevant after that. But yeah, very, very interesting times for landlords in 2020. Our campaign is all about practical things that they can do to make sure that their business stays on track over the year ahead. And you, with your landlord hat on, I'm sure you've got a good few suggestions.
Well, I think as this is coming out in January, it's probably nearly too late there this time, but number one at this stage would be get your tax affairs sorted. Obviously, the mortgage interest relief is continuing to bite further. There's still landlords out there that I'm coming across that are not necessarily finding or understanding the full impact on their business. Make sure you understand what you can claim. Make sure you understand how much tax is being taken off things. So, and if you haven't done it already, get some advice. So that would be the key one, given the time of year that we're talking about. Number two is obviously maximising your income. Let's have a review of everything. Unfortunately, we're in a position now where fee bans have happened. We've got increasing bureaucracy and regulation coming in, and it's impacting our business models. Add to the tax there. So realistically, most landlords do not raise their rents during the time of an existing tenancy agreement. So unfortunately, I think we are going to have to be at a point where we do review this more regularly. So maybe I would have a look at some of your long-term tenancies there. Number three, it would be around. Especially, let's talk about Wales in particular, because that's where I'm based. But understanding and reviewing all the regulation that has been implemented over the last few years. Certainly, the impacts of fee bans and some of the regulatory changes there. There's lots of stuff coming to England. There's lots of stuff coming into Wales. So I would do a quick review of everything that are making sure that you're complying with stuff. Especially also in Wales, agents are being audited. At some point, landlords are likely to be audited as well. So gas safeties, electrical safeties, or you get organised. Get a piece of software if you need to, if you've got a few properties, or get it all on spreadsheets and calendar reminders, things like that. And then I suppose the last one would be to make all of that easier is to join the National Residential Landlords Association, or the NRLA. So that will be launching early in the new year. It's the merged National Landlords Association and Residential Landlords Association, a bigger voice for both, but for landlords in general, and it will have greater resources to support legal advice, keeping on track of legislation, and it's got some great tools online as well to help you cater for all the things I've just talked about.
Indeed, and I do think that's such an important thing, and I want to reiterate what Douglas said about joining the NLRA, because you've got so many useful resources for landlords. You've got your helpline, which is like phone a friend for a landlord. You've got so many different things that can be downloaded, correct tenancy agreements, all this really important stuff for landlords. But also, I think what is so important about what you do is that you actually help landlords navigate through all the challenges by keeping them up to speed, making sure that they're mitigating risk by making sure that they're compliant and so on. So many reasons to join a landlords association, but perhaps 2020 never more important.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the legal advice line, there's times that even I contact the guys there. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of technicalities, and especially now that we're getting a more of a devolved Welsh and English law. There's things that crop up, because I've got some properties in England as well, but most of them are in Wales. There's things that crop up that I need reminding on, and the team there are absolutely great. And it's all the little the up to date information that we get, but also if you're invested in this business and you want to make sure that it continues to work for you going forwards, we are going to have to change our business models. There is absolutely no doubt about that. We have to understand, and we're going to change our business models. But we've got to make sure that our business models change in a sustainable way for landlords, which means that it works for tenants. And the only way we're going to do that is by having a powerful voice, and that's what the NRLA is going to provide. So yes, join it for the advice line, join it for all the support services, but also please consider about joining it to get the voice heard for landlords in general.
Yes, no, here, 100%. So just my last question really, Douglas, you with your landlord hat on, what are you going to be doing this year? Are you going to be doing anything differently, or are you just kind of, carrying on business as usual?
No, it's definitely not business as usual. So we are definitely tightening up our procedures. There's things that we've been more relaxed upon in the past that we probably won't be as relaxed on going forwards. The referencing process for us has definitely tightened up, and also we're implementing in our team a much more rigorous sort of inspection regime as well, to make sure that the quality of the property stays high, and that we don't accidentally fall foul of some of these regulations that are coming in under fitness for human habitation and things like that. So it's just preparing for stuff like that. Because renting homes is which is coming in Wales sometime next year or this year when this comes out. It's going to be a really fundamental change to how your business model will work and how renting works. So and we're just trying to, whilst we can't, not all the regulations are out, so we can't adapt to it completely, but we're really looking through that and changing our approach to that and changing some of our paperwork and stuff. So yeah, it's we're certainly not sitting on our laurels.
Well, it's very, very interesting to hear from your personal business, and I think this interview highlights, and I think we should just stress this again, that it is becoming increasingly devolved in terms of legislation across the UK, and if you're an English landlord with properties in Wales or vice versa, you are really going to have to focus on keeping up with the changing and evolving legislation, and as we've been mentioning, the NRLA can assist you in doing that.
Definitely, and it puts so much resource into making sure that people understand, and we're evolving how we represent the different areas as well. So it's a big part of what we're doing going forward.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me here on our Landlord 2020 Vision campaign. We've been talking to Douglas Haig, who is a landlord himself, but also Vice Chair of the RLA. So please stay tuned. If you're watching on YouTube, we do invite you to click across to propertytribes.com. That is where our discussions are hosted, and I look forward to welcoming you there.